Good afternoon and welcome to today's presentation. My name is David Shucker. I'm marketing coordinator for Schmerzel in the US and the person who invited you to today's session. Today we are presenting electronic safety controllers, the PROTECT SRB-E series from Schmerzel. Let me introduce today's presenter. Etta is our senior application engineer with more than 25 years of dedicated service here at Schmerzel USA. She holds a Bachelor of Engineering in Electrical Engineering and is a TUV certified functional safety engineer for machinery. Additionally, Dawn is a TUV Rhineland certified machinery CE expert, and her extensive experience and expertise has been instrumental in advancing our internal education and providing safety training initiatives like this one. So Dawn, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, David. And thank you all for coming to our webinar today. Again, we'll be talking about electronic safety controllers, our SRB-E series, and I will highlight some special things today. We'll be talking about understanding the role of safety controllers in industrial applications, some key features and benefits of our SRB-E series, as well as what we have in terms of advanced monitoring and troubleshooting capabilities, and some unique functionalities that set Schmerzel apart from our competition. So what is a safety controller or a safety relay or a safety control module or a safety control relay or a control relay? Safety, they can go by many names. Safety controllers, they are designed to increase the level of safety in machine guarding or e-stop control circuits. They will feature redundant dual channel cross monitoring logic circuits that will continuously check for and detect faults in the system safety circuit components and interconnected wiring. They can detect many types of potential safety circuit faults depending upon the model, which would include welded interlock or e-stop switch contacts, open circuits, short circuits, or ground faults, faults in the module safety relays, faults in the module's monitoring circuits, inadequate supply voltage to the safety controller itself, welded or stuck contacts in the controlled output motor contactor or control relays, capacitive or inductive interference on controller inputs. So upon detection of any system fault, the safety controller will initiate a machine stop command and or prevent the restarting of the machine until that fault has been corrected. That stop command may be immediate, or that stop command could be time delayed depending upon the model of the safety controller that's been selected. A safe machine is generally achieved through the combination of safety measures incorporated by design and taken by the machine operator. It's the responsibility of that machine designer or retrofitter to ensure that the safety system is designed to meet appropriate standards. It's impossible to correctly select and apply that safety controller without performing some type of quantitative risk assessment. Guesstimating a control category or a performance level may lead to excessive expense or an inadequate or unsafe system. There's a number of approaches to risk assessment, most of which come from some form of a decision tree to determine the appropriate safety control category. Certain factors might be considered when trying to select an optimal controller for an application. So why do we need a safety controller? It's often overlooked. Redundancy in monitoring is required at control category 3. Single fault shall be detected, but you might not detect an accumulation of faults. Redundancy and monitoring is required at control category 4. Here you'll need to detect an accumulation of faults. Cross-short recognition is required. You need a higher level of diagnostics. You can't have a single fault, and you must detect an accumulation of faults. It helps with the selection process of a safety controller to view that safety controller as having 4 basic characteristics, each of which is determined by the application requirements. This approach can be applied to any safety controller. While many voltages could be available, 24 volts DC gives you the most flexibility and lower cost since a transformer is not required. So we break it out into 4 different characteristics. You have your supply voltage, you have your input monitoring, your feedback and reset circuit, and your output circuit. The input monitoring can be a single channel up to category 2, up to category 2, up to performance level D, or a dual channel monitoring circuit, control category 3 and 4 designs used for safety functions PLD or PLE. Generally isolated dry contacts, since many controllers at category 3 and category 4 will view a C-form or a common type of a wiring of your safety devices as a short circuit, as well as we can monitor PNP type, OSSD type semiconductor outputs from light curtains and laser scanners and electronic safety sensors. Another consideration is crossed wire detection. That's your short between your channels. That will require special circuitry in the safety controllers and is required at category 4. Your feedback monitoring circuit or your external device monitoring circuit, that's going to monitor your downstream auxiliary contacts off of your downstream motor starter contactors and control relays that have positive guided contacts. That feedback is required for safety control category 3 and 4 designs. That normally closed auxiliary contact is wired into that feedback monitoring or the EDM loop. And some safety controllers may incorporate a manual reset as part of that feedback monitoring loop, and some safety controller series may have your feedback monitoring separate from your manual reset circuit. The safety controller is going to detect an existence of a weld when the relay shuts down to a power loss or an open machine guard and prevents that restart. In order to reset the safety controller, the feedback loop must be closed at least temporarily. If that normally closed auxiliary contact stays open due to a welded contact, the safety controller can't be reset. That reset circuit can be an automatic reset or it can be manual. When you have an automatic reset, the controller will automatically reset. The outputs will close when the machine guard is closed, or if your other devices, your restop operator has been reset. A reset or start button can be added to the feedback loop if desired, or added to the reset input on the safety controller. Here, you'll only need to see a momentary 24 volt DC signal at the terminals to reset the unit. When you have a manual monitored reset operation, that's your trailing edge detection, your trailing edge reset. So you'll have your manual reset push button, and you'll need to see a 24 to 0 volt transition. You'll have your manual, which is your leading edge detection, 0 to 24 volts, so you push your button. Your monitored manual means you're looking at that trailing edge detection, 24 to 0 volt transition. You push the button and let go. Typically, your monitored manual reset is required when a person can actually get inside of a machine guard where they'd be at risk if the equipment were to automatically reset when the guard is closed. Then you have your number of outputs and the types of outputs that are required for your machine control elements and your signaling. You'll have your normally open safety enabled circuits. They can either be instantaneous or time delayed. You can have a normally open or normally closed auxiliary relay contact or a semiconductor type of an auxiliary contact, not to be used for safety functions, but only for enunciation. And your safety contacts themselves can either be dry contact or they could also be semiconductor PNP type safe outputs. Now we'll move on to some features and benefits of our new SRB-E series. So our new PROTECT SRB-E series will offer PNP and or dry contact outputs depending upon the unit. They will monitor, some units will monitor 2-hand control consoles, as well as safety light curtains, safety laser scanners, all guard door monitoring type switches, electronic safety sensors, coated magnet sensors, enabling devices. Monitored input expansion is offered up to Category 4 Performance Level E. Multi-evaluation of up to 4 safety guards up to Category 4 Performance Level E per relay. All the safety controllers themselves will have the ability, depending upon your circuit requirements, to meet up to Category 4 Performance Level E. We do offer high 5.5 amp PNP switching capacity on some of the safety outputs on some of the units, those semiconductor safety outputs. Otherwise, they will be 2 amp rated as well. A faster cycle time, 60 switching cycles per minute, a very short response time of less than 10 milliseconds from the request of the protective equipment to the safety output switching off. You can cascade series connections of safety outputs. And then, of course, our enhanced diagnostics. And that is why we're here today, that the enhanced diagnostics is an important aspect of our new SRB-E series. Diagnostics, why is it so important? You know, diagnostics, you have a long downtime for machinery with troubleshooting. A long downtime for machinery, you've got a loss of productivity. A loss of productivity is a loss of money. Putting it simply, no diagnostics can equate to a loss of money. But, you know, downtime for the personnel, the downtime for your product, your loss of productivity, what are we monitoring to provide to get your enhanced diagnostics? So how are we going to achieve that less downtime with troubleshooting? We'll have door input diagnostics. That will be very easily indicated on the SRB-E series, output diagnostics, and your reset diagnostics. When you look at the evolution of our diagnostics, our traditional safety controllers of the previous series, SRB or AES, they would, of course, behave as safety controllers would and detect your wire breakage and earth faults in the monitoring circuit, as well as any malfunction in the reset circuit or the feedback monitoring circuit. But it was very difficult to troubleshoot. So you had four, maybe 6 LEDs on the front, and you had your UB, which was just simply the status of your operating voltage. The LED would be illuminated when you had supply voltage to A1 and A2. Your UI was the status of the internal operating voltage, so basically the voltage to the printed circuit board. So it had to pass through a fuse. So it was illuminated when you had your operating voltage on and your fuse had not been triggered. Some models also had a QS, a cross short LED, to indicate when your cross short detection was active. When we talk about the fuses, some units had an internal glass fuse that would need to be replaced if it wasn't functioning, or it could have had an electronic hybrid fuse that would be reset after an interruption of the supply voltage, or it could have had an electronic fuse that reset it automatically after a short time delay of about a second. So when you had everything wired up, so you thought, and you had your UB, you had power, you had your UI, you had power to the printed circuit board, but your K1 and K2, or maybe your K3, K4 would not come on, and you wouldn't know why. So now you'd have to sort of break down the entire circuit, check on your reset push button, check on the feedback monitoring loop, check on the safety inputs, and you'd have to break it down to the bare minimum, add one device at a time, confirm that your device worked, confirm that the safety controller was working, and then add on your external device monitoring circuit, then add on your manual reset button. So that would take time, and your operators and your maintenance personnel would become frustrated and reach out to us in New York or Indianapolis, and we'd have to walk them through it. So what we've gained now with the SRB-E series is that we are going to be offering some advanced diagnostics. So what are we going to be monitoring to provide those enhanced diagnostics? So all of your device inputs. So whether it's a single device input or on some of our expansion modules or input expanders or multi-evaluation units, you're monitoring each of those independent inputs and you'll have independent input diagnostic outputs, typically in the form of a semiconductor output coming from the safety controller for enunciation of those individual device inputs, or an overall system diagnostic. Your output diagnostics, you'll have your contact monitoring, the feedback monitoring loop will be indicated by some LEDs on the face of the SRB-E series, as well as your reset diagnostics. So the reset button is being monitored, and you'll get indication if you have forgotten to connect the reset button. You'll get indication if you've forgotten to connect your auxiliary contacts as part of your EDM, your feedback monitoring loop. So all that information will now be very easy to diagnose when you move to our SRB-E series. So you'll have an overall system run light that gives you indication that your operating voltage is okay, that you're ready for operation. Then you'll have N1 and N2. This is your input diagnostic information. That will give you information on the devices that are being input to the safety controller, whether it's a dry contact device, whether it's your OSSD outputs from a light curtain or laser scanner, or electronic devices that will offer the P&P semiconductor outputs. All that information can be diagnosed with your N1 and your N2 LEDs, either the green LED being continuously lit, or it could flash quickly or flash slowly, depending upon the information that's going to be given to you. And then your out lights, out 1 or out 2, your output channels. Obviously, if N1 and N2 are illuminated, that means that input circuit is satisfied. If your output is illuminated, that means the entire circuit has been satisfied. Your input circuit, your manual reset or automatic reset, your feedback monitoring loop or lack thereof, but you need to jumper that to plus 24 volts. When your out lights are continuously on, that means your safety controller is in operation, your machine can run. If they flash quickly or slowly, that's giving you indication that you have either forgotten to connect your manual reset button, if you've wired and selected that application, or your reset circuit is not closed. And it gives you indication instantly that you can then go back and correct your wiring faults very quickly and easily. So that's part 1. Part 2 is the ERR light. So that evolution of troubleshooting, going from a traditional SRB AES series to our SRB-E series. Now you've got the ERR light that will give you short flashes and long flashes in a combination. And as you run through the patterns, you can point out the exact error that you are experiencing. If you have cross shorts, you're going to get 4 long and 2 short. If you've taken one of the semiconductor safety outputs and terminated it to ground inadvertently, you've got wires crossing and touching, you'll get 6 long flashes and 2 short flashes, and so on. If you've inadvertently applied 24 volts to one of your semiconductor outputs, you'll get a long and a short flash indicating what that is. And the other differentiated flash codes to indicate that you're missing your manual reset button, that you're missing your feedback monitoring loop, that you've got an error at your inputs S12 or S22. And then, of course, there's a rotary switch on the safety controller that we'll discuss in a few slides. If that's been changed, the application has been changed during active operation, all the LEDs will flash quickly, giving you exactly what the error is and giving you the opportunity to correct that quickly and independently without having to consult the factory. So with our SRB-E series, we do have 13 different safety monitoring relays or safety controllers and 2 standstill and safety rated timer monitors. So we can cross-reference 100 plus of our Schmerzl previous AES series and SRB series and SRB-NARC series, all of our older legacy products that have been discontinued over the years in favor of newer models. We can cross-reference all of that over to our new SRB-E series. Highlighting, of course, our solid-state P&P type safety outputs with the longer life and more cycles, they cycle faster. How the entire family of our safety control products and controllers of the PROTECT SRB-E series can be used in applications up to Category 4 Performance Level E in accordance with ISO 13849 and up to SIL 3 in accordance with IEC 62061. And so obviously the enhanced diagnostics is one of our major advantages, but as well, the new SRB-E series its multifunctionality can allow all of the variants to be used with several existing SRB modules. With all of our products that we manufacture, each module can be configured for up to 14 different applications with a simple little rotary wheel or click wheel on the front. All of our conventional electronic safety sensors, electromechanical equipment can be monitored. We offer stop category 0 safety outputs. That's that instantaneous stop, instantaneous removal of power. Or you can have stop category 1, which is a time delayed removal of power, which is settable up to 30 seconds, typically used with drive systems where an immediate removal of power may result in longer stopping times. And then we'll also offer standstill monitoring, where we're monitoring the impulses of connected sensors that are going to compare the input frequencies with the preset standstill frequency or target value. That will make it possible for the device to detect threshold violations and activate your safety outputs. And of course, a fail-safe delay timer, where you may have rotating components. You can then have a safety rated timer if you know that it takes a specific set time for something to come to a complete stop to allow you to then unlock and open a gate. So 13 different safety monitoring relays and 2 standstill / safety rated timer modules are what we have available in our SRB-E series. They will all have removable terminal blocks that have the coding strips already on the units. Our older series would come with little accessories that you would then break off the little red things and the little red strips and insert them into the terminal blocks. Here it's already done so that you can remove the terminal blocks, land your wires rather easily, and then pop them back into their appropriate spots. We will snap in blank equipment labels that allow for individual project and device identification. That little dial for quick and easy adjusting that we'll talk about in a couple of slides to allow for you to select the application, how you're going to single channel, dual channel, antivalent combination of contacts with or without a manual reset function, and if you're going to select 2-hand control. Really easy to quote unquote program our safety controllers. And then a little special seal lock to lock the cover once it's configured. So you can label it, you can put on there, if you have a time delay setting, whatever, however, machine number 1, however you'd like to label it. There's a little clear plastic lid that covers over that click wheel or dial. And then we include that little seal to lock it in place. Each module can be adjusted to one of up to 14 preset configurations or applications, where you're going to select here the monitored contact configuration by using the rotary dial at the front of the unit. So this example here is our SRB-E 204ST, which can monitor up to 4 independent sensors. So you have a combination of input configurations of normally closed, or you can do the antivalent, your normally closed and normally open combination, as well as the PNP type semiconductor OSSD type output devices. So that's your selection of your input rather easily. Your cross short selection, so you can choose to have the cross short monitoring active or inactive or turned off, depending upon the type of devices that you're monitoring. Dry contact devices, obviously you would turn that on, but for our self-checking and self-monitoring type PNP type OSSD type devices that are already performing cross-short recognition, that's where you would disable that or turn that off with your application setting, because the safety outputs of those electronic devices and light curtain type devices are already performing that function. and then your manual reset option, whether you're choosing to have auto start, automatic reset, or having your trailing edge detection, your monitored manual reset button. You can choose that quite simply as well, depending upon what your safety circuit requires. You're making those adjustments, or you're selecting that application using that rotary mode switch or rotary dial on the front of the unit. Out of the box, it's set to mode 1. And so it's quite simple to quote unquote program the unit or select your application. You're just going to turn your dial to C, and your run in 1, in 2, and outs will all start flashing. And once they flash, then only the run light will be flashing. So it has now cleared your application. And then to set your application, you're then going to rotate to the number program that you require. And then your run light, then in 1 and 2, each one will come on solid. And then finally, only the run light will be solid, indicating that your program has now been quote unquote saved. That front cover can then be secured with that seal to protect it from being opened unintentionally, from someone to come by and just spin the wheel. Always ensure that your safety relay is wired correctly, otherwise a fault will occur. This is a safety feature, so if someone decides to rotate that dial, a fault will occur and you will have a safe stop of your equipment. Now we're going to talk about some special Schmerzl functions unique to Schmerzl of our SRB-E series. You have the ability to connect the outputs in series using a single wire. So you're cascading a series connection of the safe outputs with our SRB-E 201ST series and our SRB-E 201LC. Both of those safety controllers will have Q1 and Q2 are your PMP type safety outputs, and utilizing the Q7 input, you can then have 3 independent safety controllers, 3 independent zones. You have an e-stop circuit, you can have light curtain circuit, you have a door monitoring circuit. However you need to connect your different safety functions in series if you choose to. You can cascade those, taking the first unit, you'll take your PMP type Q1 or Q2 output, wire that into X7, and again, subsequently, your PMP output wired in again to Q7, and then the last safety controller on that chain, that series chain, will have 2 safety outputs that you can utilize. So using a single wire, allowing you to connect those outputs, cascade them in series using a single wire. This is unique to our safety controllers here. Performing the manual reset using double reset. So using our SRB-100DR, that's a safety control that will incorporate a double reset function. So where you have large work areas where the operator has walk-in access to a potentially hazardous area, and you may lose line of sight, special measures must be taken to prevent an unsafe restart. This is where you may not have, an operator may not have full view of the work area, and he cannot confidently declare a safe state from just standing outside the walk-in area. So the restart or the reset controls should be positioned so that the operators can see that the entire hazardous area is clear. If the personnel could be present but unseen, that's where your double reset function should be introduced. It would require the actuation of a push button from within the hidden hazardous area, acknowledgement of egress, whether you're closing the gate or the light curtain has been interrupted, and then an actuation of a second push button outside, all within a limited time period. Here you can see in the circuit diagram, you're taking the single manual reset and you're wiring in the SRB-100DR into that existing SRB-E single manual reset. So this enhances the safety function of any standard safety controller. prevents the reset of the machine when the operator is inside the hazardous area who might not be seen. And you can select the monitoring time anywhere from 3 seconds upwards of 30 seconds, depending upon how large the piece of equipment is. And that's done with little dip switches that are located underneath the front cover of the safety monitoring module. And both of those dip switches, switch 1 and switch 2, must be sent identically out of the box. Your monitoring time is set at 3 seconds. And that double reset must be repeated if the operator does not actuate the inside button first at all, or doesn't actuate the second button outside the hazardous area within the time window. And both of those signals are evaluated with that trailing edge detection as well, to help detect any welded contacts that might be present in the reset buttons or other manipulations of the reset circuit. So here's an example here where you've got perhaps maintenance personnel or an operator going in to check on something in the robotic cell. So he's going to break through the light curtain. However, you are going to lose sight of him. He's going to walk behind the control panel. And so when he's done, someone walking around outside cannot initiate a reset until the inside reset button is hit first. And then he will break the beams. And then he will come outside and hit the second reset button within that time frame, anywhere from 3 to 30 seconds of whatever they've programmed in. And then now he can start up his machine and the robot can now run. That is your SRB-100DR to enhance the safety of any existing safety controller and to give you double reset. Another special Schmerzl function is your SRB-E-204ST. So this will monitor up to 4 sensors individually in one slim 22.5mm wide housing. I neglected to mention that all of the SRB-E series are all embedded into a slim 22.5mm wide housing, saving room in your control panel. So input expansion for all common applications. Here you have sensor monitoring up to category 4 performance level E. You'll have 2 semiconductor safe outputs, Q1 and Q2, so 2 amp rated 24-volt DC, and 4 additional signaling outputs, Y1 through 4. Y1 obviously is input 1, Y2 input 2, etc. to Y4 is input 4. And here you can monitor dry contact devices, your P&P type devices, antivalent devices, enabling devices, monitors up to 4 sensors individually. So here again, you'll see your 4 devices that are inputted, and you'll get your input diagnostics in the form of your semiconductor auxiliary outputs, and you'll have your feedback monitoring circuit connections at X3, you'll have your manual reset connections at X2, and you'll have your 2 enabled safety outputs at Q1 and Q2 of the P&P type. Here we have the SRB-E302ST. What's special about this is that one safety function with the monitoring of 2 safety sensors, again up to category 4 performance level E, so 2 independent device inputs to monitor up to 2 independent devices. Depending upon the application, your switching loads are switched where free with safety semiconductor outputs or with the safety relay contacts. So here you'll also have either 2 enabled dry contact safe outputs, or you'll have 1 Q1 P&P type safe output. So 3 safety outputs in total, your choice of dry contact or semiconductor output. And then 1 auxiliary output, your that's your safety output, excuse me. 2 signaling outputs, Y1 and Y2, giving you the status of sensor number 1 and the status of sensor number 2, similar to the 204ST where you had Y1 through 4. Here you'll have Y1 through Y2 to give you independent enunciation of each independent safety sensor that you're monitoring up to 2. So again, here, monitoring OSSD type devices, dry contact devices, coated magnet sensors, your electromechanical devices, up to 2 sensors, up to category 4 performance level E. So again, here, giving you your signaling outputs for your device inputs, giving you 2 dry contact safe outputs, or Q1 or Q1 is your P&P type semiconductor safe output, giving you greater flexibility with your output requirements as well as your input requirements. Another device unique to Schmerzol is our SRB-E 402ST. So what's special about this is that you have two independent safety functions, each up to category 4 performance level E, inside one. So it's like having two safety controllers inside one housing. So in that 22.5 millimeter wide housing, you'll have safety circuit, safety function number 1, and then you'll have safety function number 2. This can also monitor two-hand control units, as well as all of our electronic safety sensors, electromechanical devices, coated magnet sensors, light curtains, laser scanners, OSSD type input devices. High performance wear-free category 4 performance level E outputs on safety function number 2. So safety function 1 will have your two safety relay outputs, 230 volt AC, 6 amp rated. Safety function number 2 will have two safe semiconductor outputs, your Q1 and your Q2, 2 amp rated, 24 volt DC. And you'll have one signaling contact for safety function number 1, which is a dry contact, and you'll have one signaling output Y1 for safety function number 2, which is a PNP type semiconductor output. And so what does that look like? So you'll have safety function number 1, and it will have its own manual reset circuit and its own feedback monitoring circuit. And you'll have safety function inputs number 2, which will have its own manual reset circuit and its own feedback monitoring, external device monitoring loop. So safety function 1 will have its dry contact safety outputs, and it will have a dry contact auxiliary. And safety function number 2 in red here highlighted on the screen will have its own set of safety rated outputs, Q1 and Q2, your PNP type outputs. And so two safety functions, that combined evaluation for two separate safety functions, giving you that ability to have two safety functions in one housing. And here's an example where we're showing here to monitor two separate safety functions. This is a two-hand control application, and they also have an e-stop operator. So here you can have your two-hand control station being monitored with the same safety controller footprint, with two separate safety functions inside, and have a separate e-stop monitoring circuit as well. Another unique device, special Schmerzol functions in an output expansion module. So our SRB-E 602EM expansion module for output contact multiplication with up to 6 safety contacts. So you'll have 6 dry contact relay outputs, maximum 6 amps, 250 volts AC. You'll have a signaling contact for relays K1 and K2, and you'll have a separate signaling contact for the status of relays K3 and K4 inside. You can also switch, the safety contacts can be switched in 2 separate groups, or you can switch all 6 at the same time. So now you have the flexibility where you can have 2 times 3 safe outputs. So you can have 2 separate groups of safety outputs multiplied from your base safety controller, or you can have all 6 safety contacts being switched by one safety controller. And so here, for example, this is your single channel control with a basic device, a base model where you needed to expand the outputs. So here we're going to expand this 6 safety contacts connected to one safety controller. So it's controlled by the safety contact or the safety output of that base model. And you do need to connect your manual reset and your feedback monitoring loop of the output expansion module back to the main base safety controller, so that feedback monitoring circuit and the push button safe manual reset circuit are connected in series with your output expansion module. And here you can have single channel control with 2 basic devices for contact duplication with 2 times 3 safety contacts each. Here you're controlled by a safety contact or safety output of the base module, and again, wiring your manual reset circuit and that feedback monitoring, that downstream external device monitoring circuit back to the base model as well. Another special Schmersal safety function is our multifunctional unit. Now the SRB-E 302FWS-TS gives you two functions that you can select in one unit, either standstill monitoring or a safety rated timer. So your standstill monitoring with either 1 or 2 encoders, or optionally with an additional standstill signal. That standstill frequency is adjustable from 0.5 hertz up to 10 hertz. So the safety controller can also be utilized as a safety rated timer with a delay time adjustable from 0.5 seconds up to 3,000 seconds. So with that safe time delay, the safety controller is only released once the preset time has run out, which enables the safety device to be unlocked and opened. And again, that can be anywhere from 0.5 seconds to 3,000 seconds. 3,000 seconds is 50 minutes. So whether you're detecting standstill or using as a timer function, both of those functions are available to you in one slim housing. That's your SRB-E 302FWS-TS. We're giving you some examples. On the left, you have your 2-channel operation with start function. That's your timing. That's your safety rated timer circuitry, where you've got your safety inputs and your safety outputs, and you'll have a start button so that once the time has counted down, you will then hit your start button at X3, and it allows you to apply power to unlock your solenoid locking device. So anytime that you have, upon immediate removal of power, you still have rundown time, you still have moving parts, you still have pressure that hasn't been released. When the safe condition has not been achieved behind the gated area, you want to be able to control when you're going to unlock that solenoid interlocking device, and whether you're using a safety rated timer or if you're going to be utilizing a standstill monitor, whether you're using 1 or 2 proximity sensors or 1 or 2 proximity sensors along with an additional standstill signal. Those are the 2 drawings that are on your right. Once that condition has been achieved, that is where you will then be able to apply power to unlock your solenoid locking device. Moving it a step further, now we have the SRB-E 402FWS-TS multifunctional special to Schmersal. 3 functions in one unit. In addition to having the option of utilizing the standstill monitoring function or your safety rated timer, and now the monitoring of your door safety. So standstill monitoring with 1 or 2 encoders, optionally with an additional standstill signal from anywhere from 0.5 hertz to 10 hertz, that delay time adjustable, that safety rated timer function from 0.5 seconds to 3,000 seconds. Now you have a separate safety function to monitor that solenoid interlock on 2 channels with or without cross short detection. So here, making it very unique in the market. So you're in one 22.5mm wide housing, you not only have your standstill monitor and or timer, but now the door monitoring circuit on board as well. So this way, in the event of any dangerous movements, that door cannot be opened. The second safety function, which is the safety door monitoring, ensures that the movement is safely shut off. So the safe outputs prevent the machine from starting whenever the door is open. Door is open, nothing can run, close the gate, wait till you're in a locked condition, then the machine can run. And then if you want to request to enter and initiate the stop command, the stop action, you can detect it either with your safety rated timer function or detect standstill using your proximity sensors and your standstill signal to determine when it is safe to enter, and then you can then apply power to unlock the gate and gain entry and gain access. So here's a typical circuit here where you'll have in red, that's your door monitoring circuit with its own separate safety outputs. And then you'll have either your safety rated timer function or your standstill monitoring In this instance here, this is your safety rated timer function, and you'll be able to apply power to the solenoid locking device and unlock the gate and open the gate. In these examples here, you'll have your 2-channel operation with or without an additional standstill signal. So this is your standstill monitoring circuit. And in red, that you're highlighting that separate safety function, the door monitoring function. So those are just some, those are the special SMRSL functions that we've talked about today. Whether you're looking at our SRB 100DR for double reset, whether you're looking at our SRB-E 204ST for that multi, up to 4 devices in one slim housing being monitored with independent input diagnostic auxiliary outputs, your SRB-E 302ST, which would be your dual input devices and giving you dry contact outputs. And then of course your SRB-E 402ST, which is your 2 distinct safety functions in one housing. And of course our expansion module, which is your SRB-E 602EM, giving you 2 different ways to multiply your outputs, either a single safety controller with 6 outputs, or using up to 2 safety controllers, each getting 3 safety outputs. And of course our integrated 2 function safety rated timer and safety rated standstill monitor of the SRB-E 302FWSTS. And then the most unique one, which I'll go back a slide, which excites me, it's the SRB-E 402FWSTS, which gives you the ability to have that on board, either standstill monitor or your timer function, as well as that independent door monitoring circuit, all in one slim 22.5mm wide housing. So we do have product literature that is available. We have tech brief on our SRB-E series, highlighting the key features and benefits we've talked about here today, as well as brochures. We have the family brochure of our PROTECT SRB, along with the entire PROTECT Safe Signal Processing family, including the PROTECT Select and our PROTECT PSC1 programmable safety controller, and also our GKC, our machine guarding safety products that will also include our safety controllers, but as well as all of our machine guarding safety products that we offer here in North America. All the tech briefs and brochures can be downloaded from our website at www.smrsalusa.com, or you can visit our online product catalog at www.products.smrsl.com, where you can search for information as well as pull up operating instructions, brochures, typical wiring diagrams, and so forth found on our online product catalog. And you can access our web shop there and buy directly from us, or find a list of authorized local distributors in your region. As this was just a little overview, a little taste of the safety controllers and what special SMRSL functions we have to offer, we also have full day safety seminars on many of the topics listed here, just a small sampling that you can find on our website. Our Technicum, our TUV certified functional safety engineers for machinery, will offer training on general machine safety, risk assessment, ISO 13849, safety circuits and wiring, OSHA outreach training program, stop time analysis, collaborative robot risk analysis, pressure and force limiting training. So please feel free to reach out and have any kind of discussions for full day and multi-day seminars presented by our SMRSL Technicum team. I want to thank everyone for attending today. Thank you for attending. This session has been recorded, and it will become available to you by email the same way you got your invitation. You will then get a link to the recorded session. At the end here, when you exit, there will be a quick survey as you exit, so we appreciate it if you would take the time to answer those questions. And at the moment now, I see some hands raised. I see that we may have some questions that have been brought up. SRB compatible with dual channel solid state inputs with relay outputs. Any option for muting input? So if you're looking to, let's say you have a standard safety light curtain and you want to introduce muting to that light curtain that doesn't already have it introduced, we do have a separate safety module. It's a SRB 202 MSL. So we do have a muting safety module if that's what you were looking for. The gentleman who's asked for that, I can reach out and send you some information on that as well. If you do have any questions, just pop them into that question section. If not, there are many ways to reach us. You can give us a call at our main phone number and speak with our live reception, or hit 1 for customer service or 2 for tech support. You can reach me directly. My email is detta, first initial last name, @schmersel.com. Or general inquiries can always be sent to Support USA for technical inquiries, Support USA @schmersel.com, or Sales USA @schmersel.com, as well as reach out when you receive the email of the recorded session. So if there's no other questions, anything that does come in, we will of course address and reply to you promptly with answers to your questions. So again, thank you for attending, and have a safe day.